Although weeping lasted all night, I know that joy comes in the morning light. So I march on to a new song, 'cause I've been marching to that old one way too long. And I gotta move on and take new steps every day. I know there has got to be another way, and I'm brighter today, so I march on. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pure Live. Welcome back to another episode. I am excited to talk to you guys today. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about monogamy versus open relationships. And I have a panel with me today, and we're going to deal with both sides. Some people will be discussing monogamy, and some people will be discussing open relationships. This shall be exciting. Oh, there's some technical difficulties with one of our guests. Hopefully, he'll be able to work that out. But for now, we got to deal with our sponsors.
In a recent service, Pastor Dan asked if anyone felt disconnected, not apart, all by yourself, alone, or on your own. Realizing that every day, too many people in our community and even in our churches feel disconnected. In our CFC Life group, we want to let people know that they belong. That's the most important reasons that we have life groups. And now we've added an online community access. With social media fellowship, we consider that connecting people can be messy. Sometimes we have real challenges such as schedule conflicts, transportation and mobility issues, as well as just feeling too tired to travel. We purposefully schedule our life group sessions to explore life application of the message with a discussion among friends. This online life group is hosted by Drs. Aaron and Margaret Jamal, who truly enjoy exploring life in God's Word. So we invite you to belong. Join the newly launched CFC online life group today.
All right, join that life group today. And our next sponsor. So, as you guys know, that ones that have been watching, of course, I've upped my game on my wardrobe, and that is thanks to Posh Women's Apparel. And here's some things from her site. I was so excited about it. I've been wearing the clothes, so you can the outfit that I'm wearing today. We took a couple of pictures. It's me standing up. It has pockets. And here's me sitting down. That's my dress for the evening. All right, you guys. So I'm going to introduce everything, everyone, and we're going to get into this conversation. I got one more thing. So one of the things that I believe that leads people, this is my personal opinion, this is not facts. One of the things that I believe that leads people to not want a monogamous relationship is because when you get into certain relationships, you find out after you get with them that, it seems like this person may want something that you're not delivering, or this other person is not vibing with you the way that they want to. And so I'm going to play a portion of this song by Elijah Jamal called Situationship. And if you guys don't have this song, you need to get it. I downloaded it on Amazon, but you could also get it on iTunes. It is out there and it is hot. So let's listen.
No surprise, it's the same every time. You got bored, so you hit up my line. Probably wasn't even first pick. Trying to see who's liking your pick. I really don't know what the call is, but if I could just be honest, this ain't no relationship. It's a situationship. This ain't no relationship. It's a situationship. Oh, no. I won't leave, you won't leave. Low-key looking for the next best thing. I won't leave, you won't leave. Low-key looking for the next best. This ain't no relationship. It's a situationship.
All right, so I think there's quite a few people that are in situationships. So that might lead you to have that open relationship situation. I don't know. Let's hear the opinions of the people that I have on my panel today. So let's bring them in. We got Drs. Aaron and Margaret Jamal.
Hello.
We got the Sloans.
Hello.
Hey.
We got Mark.
Hey there.
And we got Sandy.
Okay.
Nice, Sandy.
And Jeff. All right.
There we go. Okay. So here we go. And this is the first time that I've had a panel of people big, so bear with us, people. Yes. I can hear you, but it needs you to speak a little louder, just a little louder. All right, so here we go. They worked out amongst themselves what teams they were going to be on. And I have Drs. Aaron and Margaret Jamal that are going to assist in the I guess you can say the facilitation of the matter, but they got teams too. So we're going to talk about this thing, monogamy versus open relationships. Why did I want to talk about this particular topic? Because it seems to be a trend going on where there's more and more people leaning more towards an open relationship situation. They may be married, they may have the legal documents, but they say, hey, we are deciding that we can, as long as we talk about it, we can add a couple of people to the relationship from time to time. I don't really know the rationality behind that or what the problem is or why they decide to go there. And I'm going to ask my guests that when they're not speaking, if you could mute your mic, that'd be great. I highly appreciate it. Thank you very much. So, I might just mute you for you. Because I'm hearing some feedback here. There we go. Okay. So, I want to start off with Drs. Aaron and Margaret Jamal. I want you
Hello,
guys,
everybody.
First of all, hey. We've had them on the show before. I want you guys to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Well, thank you so much for having us, Aja. We appreciate it. I am Dr. Margaret Jamal, and my specialty is human services and PhD in human services and Christian counseling. And this conversation is very dear to us. We've invited a few of our friends that you're going to meet. They're not just our friends, but they're part of our group, Friends of Your Marriage. They're couples. And so what we've decided to do is to be able to come prepared to speak on both sides with the couple. So that's going to be very interesting. And I'll let my husband introduce himself.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Dr. Aaron Jamal. My focus is, I should say my doctorate is emphasizes something different than what my focus is right now. It emphasizes that, dealing with addiction as a as a focus. And really my focus now is with relationships in general and communication. And so that's why this thing is so important to me, because I do believe, just as the song was saying, that people are confusing what is intended to be a relationship. And when I say relationship, I mean a relationship between two individuals that is devoted to one another, as opposed to situations that are conditional. Relationships need not be conditional when they're under the umbrella of love, right? They're unconditional. But when it is that you have situationships, then yeah, they become very conditional. So that's why my focus is on relationships and communication.
Right. And we brought a lively crew with us. So we're looking forward to getting that feedback. All right.
Absolutely. And just for the audience, what team are you guys supposed to be on?
Well, actually, we're supposed to be on the side
Of polygamy.
Right. Well, the side that is not monogamy.
Right. Open relationships.
relationships.
That's what we're supposed to.
We'll raise points for both sides.
Although it's a round table.
Interesting. All right, let's move on to the next. Let's introduce the Sloans. Introduce yourselves, please, and thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sheila. I'm also known as Glam and Fab Beauty because I am very known as a makeup artist in the North Carolina East Coast area.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't want to be long.
I'm a DJ, singer, whatever. We do a lot of different things in our community, and we are just ecstatic to be here this evening. We appreciate.
What's your name?
My name is Sheldon.
Oh,
DJ Special D.
DJ Special.
Awesome. All right. Let's. And what team are you guys supposed to be on?
Well,
we're actually split.
We got cut in half. Sheldon's
with the open side, and Sheldon's with the monogamy side.
Right.
I am open.
Okay. Hey, doctors. I want them to say it, doctors. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next, we have Miss Sandy. Introduce yourself, darling. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Did you not hear me?
I think I'm challenging the limits of our internet connection here.
Oh, okay.
My name's Mark Rudge, and I'm here defending polygamy today with my monogamous wife, Sandy. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. All right. We got Jeff, who's been on the show before. You want to introduce yourself, Jeff? Yeah, unmute your mic. It looked like you muted your mic. We can't hear you, buddy.
Oh.
There we go.
Can't hear me?
I hear you now.
Yeah, so my name is Jeff. My name is Jeff Nichols. Been on the show. My other half was having issues again. So I'm on the monogamy side, and I want to say happy birthday to Sheila.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Sheila.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's get going with the conversation.
And can we do just a little, since she said to help facilitate, just a little housekeeping, that when you're not talking, please mute the mic because we can hear feedback. We can hear other people talking.
Thank you.
It's like a little echo.
And
if you want
to conversation, I'd like you to get in with Mark.
Yeah, if you can't, well, at least have Mark introduce her.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right, cool. We're going to get into this conversation. Oh, you have something else to say, Dr. Margaret?
Yeah, one of the things that I want to do too is, let people know that we have North Carolina, we have Iowa, we have Indiana, we're different regions, but also we want to start with explaining the difference between monogamy and open marriages or polygamy, so that we even know why it's an issue. I also wanted to say what we wanted to address, that a lot of people wanted us to address, is how it's dealt with in the church. Uh, the headlines
Okay.
about what's happening with Falwell, not to uh, go on and on about it, but it has raised questions with, and for people who don't know, Jerry Falwell, very well known head of Liberty, a Christian university, is has been in the headlines because of his wife's relationship with the pool guy, and they had an open relationship. And so there are people in the church that are actually talking about how this impacts the church, how people should see those types of relationships. And
Okay. All right.
mhm.
Well, first of all, let's address the difference. So I heard the word polygamy because that's different from monogamy. But I want to be clear. This is addressing open relationships. Period. So monogamy is speaking towards it's just you and that other person. It's just between the two of you. That is a monogamous relationship, right? Open relationship says, occasionally we may bring a couple other people in the situation. Your significant other may bring somebody else home, or we have the situation of polygamy, like you mentioned, where I'd say the traditional polygamy situation is that there is a husband in the house with several wives, so 2, 3, 4, whatever wives. So there's that situation. So we're going to talk about the plus and minuses of both sides. And so let's start with the Sloans. And since they are split, let's talk about first the side of the open marriage. Let's go there.
Okay.
Or
Okay,
open
with open
relationship.
marriage, well, with open relationships, I really feel like it has to be agreed upon the couple. Both of us need to, have to really agree upon it for it to be actually um something that I think that we both could do. Um when we was talking about, when you guys had brought up the pastor in the church, I feel like that could be something that a lot of people will look at it like it's a bad thing because we're dealing with, Christ and the Bible. But if you really get into the Bible and you start thinking about the Bible, sex is very open. So I don't disagree with open relationships, and I don't agree with it. I agree with it because I disagree with it because of the fact that I am married and I rather just be with one person, but I don't agree. I do agree with it because it can be healthy in certain people's lives because of how we were born and raised.
Okay, that's a good point. That's true. And in the Bible, there are a lot of, I'll say, polygamous relationships.
Mm-hmm.
King. So you're absolutely right. What do you have to say? The
Well, as far as my views on things, as far as being as a Malik, being in a non-open relationship, I would like to say that I don't really think that it's okay to be in an open relationship because of the fact that you can get caught up in feelings with other people. Because just say perhaps you're having a bad day and you guys are having an open relationship. Because in a real relationship that you're dedicated to someone, you have arguments with that person. So say I'm arguing with my wife this day, and Sally or Sarah or Shaniqua or whoever is the one that is the other person. And now I'm going to call her, but I'm going to be talking about my wife to this person. And we don't know that this other person is in our relationship the way that we're in our relationship. So how can I trust that? It's a little
Mm-hmm.
scary to me to give myself to someone else when you're intimate with someone. You do have a lot of conversation with that person. I know I do. I have conversation with my wife. I mean, so I mean, you can't help but open up to someone that you're intimate with. So
Right.
it's a very touchy situation. I mean, you got to be committed, I feel.
Okay. You think it'll cause emotional disputes, is what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, what do you say? And what team are you on?
Well, I'm on the team monogamy side, but I feel kind of mixed about both. So sticking with the
Okay.
monogamy, we learn, well, once we come to Christ, we learn that it's supposed to be one man and one woman. And before I came to Christ, I was on the polygamy side, because you know, I didn't, I don't know. I guess I was part of the world and I wanted to be, you know, being in one relationship, that just wasn't appealing to me. I needed multiple relationships. But it wasn't until, I came to Christ and I realized that, this isn't the way I want to live my life anymore. You know, Having multiple relationships, you get in multiple issues, multiple arguments. And so,
Mm-hmm.
today is just better to be in one relationship. And so I can be intimate, and that was a problem I had before I came to Christ, being intimate. I would jump to relationships because I would never have to tell one woman how I feel. If they wanted to know my feelings, well, my feelings is we're in a moment right now. If we need to get deeper than that, I don't know if this is what I want, and I'll move on to the next. But coming to Christ and examining myself, I realized in reading the Bible a little bit, I found that life is a lot better for me now than it was when I was out there in the world and needing to have multiple relationships. I can't even imagine, just like what Sheldon was saying, I can't imagine being in a marriage and having multiple relationships because I might get jealous, I might get envious, and those are things that we're not supposed to do. But like he was saying, and I agree, your feelings get involved in you know that green-eyed monster, that one-eyed monster jealousy creeps up, and that's not good for any relationship. So I'm on the side of monogamy right now. One woman, one husband, or one wife, one husband. And, I'm sad that my wife wasn't able to get on because, I wanted her to hear this. We both had, issues before we got together, but being together, and even though we have issues now, it has strengthened me into the point that I feel like I'm a man now. I thought I was a man by having multiple relationships, but I wasn't a man. I was just running from myself. And it wasn't until I came to Christ and got her on my side that, even though we're having issues right now, I still feel like, you know, this is what God would have me to do. I need help along the way because I don't do it correctly, but it isn't something that, even though what we're going through, I feel like I need to go out and get into another relationship and thinking that's going to solve the issues that I'm going through now. It isn't even about that. It's about me being dedicated to the woman I have now, which I love dearly. So I can't imagine sharing what we have, the ups and the downs, with anyone else right now. So
Okay. All right. Well, let's hear from Mark and Sandy. First of all, let us know what team you're on, and let us know your viewpoints.
I am. This is Mark. I'm pro polygamy for this, even though I'm sitting right next to my wife, so that's going to make it tough. Kind of getting off something what Sheldon and Jeff said, and then you had the Chi-Town viewer say that the rules have to be adhered to. I don't think you can get into a polygamous relationship and just, wing it and see how it goes. It's not the same as swinging. It's having agreements. It's actually trying to figure out what is it we're going to do and what are the rules. And from that angle, it's no different than a monogamous relationship. You've got things that you need to bring to the relationship, and it doesn't have a place for just doing whatever you want. And it's just something that you've got to have rules. You got to have figure out what you're going to do before you dive into it. What do you think, monogamous?
So,
Okay,
yeah, okay, well, I didn't know he was doing some sort of polygamy thing, so I wasn't even talking about that. I don't have anything to say about it. Honestly. Okay, well, I will say this. Coming from a standpoint in the past where I had several really bad serious relationships, and I had one ex marriage where my ex marriage I could not decide which day I loved or hated him. And we were together for 7 years. Yes, I cheated on him. And I did not feel bad about it at all. Not even for a second.
Okay.
But now, once I was with Mark, and literally our relationship went from, we have just kind of known each other and been friends or worked together, had different, acquaintance relationships for 15 years to like we were suddenly serious, like in a few days. Like we knew that it was right away. That from that moment, I never had a desire for anyone else. So I didn't even I might say, hey, yeah, that chick is really hot, or, that dude is smoking. But I didn't actually think, but I want to get with them ever again. It went away completely. It just that thing in me in the past of what I would have always had when I wasn't happy.
Mm-hmm.
From the moment that I was with Mark, that just turned off in me. So I don't really even, I guess I can't even understand some standpoints of it. But also that as far as monogamy thing that I was thinking of was just, as far as being, faithful is what I was thinking it was. Is that I also would never do anything to risk losing what I found.
Okay.
So
yeah. Okay. So I want to address one of the comments, and I have it up so you guys can see it. It says, y'all mixing up an open relationship with cheating. So let's clarify. So clarification in regards to cheating and open relationship. I feel, as I think was addressed by Chi-Town and Sloan, and I think Jeffrey, that when it comes to open relationships, you have an agreement. So you set up the rules. You say, okay, this is how our open relationship is going to work, and this is what you're able to do. This is what I'm able to do, and here's our rules. Here's our boundaries. Now, flat out cheating is saying our agreement is to have a monogamous relationship. You stepped outside of our agreement, so therefore you are cheating.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I feel like that is a clarification between flat out cheating and having an open relationship. It has to do with what it is that you guys agree on in your relationship. Jeff, you wanted to say something?
Yes. So my question is this open relationship in a marriage? You're having an open relationship in your marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a marriage. It can be in a marriage, or you can be dating. There's open relationships on both sides.
Mm-hmm. And swinging.
Yeah, like Tammy says there's a big difference between the two. Big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're in a polygamous relationship, you gotta go by the rules, and you gotta, if there's 3 people in it, then those are the 3 people in it. You don't bring a 4th in unless you talk to the other 2. There's rules.
Right.
Yes, I
Exactly.
definitely know.
And also, even in a relationship, you can still cheat because you're going outside of your agreement, and that would be the cheating. And it says also there's a difference between open and I agree with that. Do you guys agree with that? There's a difference between an open relationship versus swinging. Swinging, I feel like that's just, a thing that you guys decide to do a night, maybe it's a little bit of practice or whatever. Y'all go kick it with another couple and you have your single whatever. But I feel like open relationship indicates that there is actually an extra person in your relationship, and a part in your relationship in one way or another. Did you have something to say, Dr. Zarin and Margaret Jamal? I have to talk to you guys on your sides about this.
Okay.
Well, I believe that regardless, whatever it is, there has to be an understanding between, even in a monogamous relationship, there has to be an understanding. And my position was supposed to be pro-polygamy. And so I do have some points regarding that. And now I just want to clarify, this is for the sake of argument. I am not stating what I actually want to practice. So don't be hitting on my emails and everything, okay? But from the okay, is that there are some points to consider. One, even in regular monogamous relationships, people often feel pressure to entertain, to be able to satisfy that one person. And having another person in a relationship with an understanding can help relieve some of that stress. So you have more of a community together. It takes a village. It can take a village. And in that village, you can actually share the love, right? So that it's not just the burden of one person to have to be that everything for a person. Because what you find after you've been married for a while is that it's hard for one person to be everything that you need. And so in a polygamous relationship, it can, for one, I'm just saying it could possibly relieve some of the stress. And I'll pass it over to my husband. I have some other points too, but let's start with that.
Okay, so for clarity's sake, polygamy tends to, well, the picture that comes to mind is having one partner of one gender with multiple partners of another gender. When you talk about an open relationship, you're not necessarily having one with multiples, you're having open relationships. And those open relationships are open to both sides. It's an agreement, but it's open on both sides. That's the picture that I see. Having said that, I believe that relationships are opportunities for people to take an adventure together. When you're taking that adventure, you can be really, really excited about what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're seeing, what it is that you're experiencing. But at the time it is that things get kind of challenging is when things go awry, when they go different. Like somebody gets hurt, somebody gets sick, something happens that causes one person or another to actually be the person that you rely upon. Like for instance, if you're in a car accident, right? If you're in an open relationship and the person that you're with in that car accident is not your spouse, they can't really hang with you in the hospital because they're not that relative, right? Or if it is that you're wanting to go see somebody that you have an open relationship with and you're not family and they say family only, then again, things get sticky. You begin to feel not as important. It becomes weighty. So even with all the rules, there are some challenges along with the excitement and all the adventure. And most of the excitement, I'm going to just say this as well, even though I am not a proponent of this at all. I do know that there is something more, at least it's perceived to be exciting because you are quote unquote doing something that is out of the norm, sneaking or whatever. But those things, they don't last long. It's just a matter of time before you grow bored with that as well, and then you're reaching for someone else. So even though there is some perks, if you will, there's challenges in those perks remaining true to that person or persons that you're with. And before you know it, you're trying to find another team. And so,
Can I address something regarding religion? I know Callista chimed in about the three-strand man, woman, and God. And one of the things we're seeing lately is homosexual marriages. And I'm wondering how long it is until we can see a polygamous marriage. I really don't see a difference legally between those two things. And I wonder when the first three-person couple is going to occur. And, you know, as Christians, we need to take a deep breath and say, can we really push our laws onto society and say, well, gay people can't get married and a polygamist can't have two spouses? And, you know, at one point do we say our rules don't necessarily apply to everybody else, even though we know we're all under one God? We live in a nation that supposedly is separate from religion. So something to think about.
No, it's okay. Can I please respond to that? May I respond to that?
Okay, I'll let you respond.
Okay.
To that. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, it's not a nation apart from religion. It's one that's not supposed to be controlling the religion or the religion controlling it. So yes, you can't have one without the other impacting the other. Religion impacts our nation impacts our faith. That's the reality of it. Now, having said that and set it apart, when we're talking about polygamy, and you're talking about a marriage on a legal standpoint, the reason why that's really very difficult really has to do more so with what it is you're going to do in dividing ownership, heirs, as far as inheritance, who's going to have what. Truly, there are things that are set in place under the umbrella of marriage that are not really up to the faith as much as they are up to the legal standards. And the legal standard says that as this woman being your wife, you share this home together. She may not be contributing as much financially to the home, but because she's your wife, she's entitled to this. When you bring up a polygamy standard into the situation and then say, okay, now how are we going to divide this thing? Then you run into problems.
Well, may I just add one thing about that? Even when we deal with polygamy, I think it's a little sexist because it's the man who gets to have the different wives. I think for polygamy to be fair, women should have different husbands, as far as that's concerned.
Are you guys familiar with Tilda Swinton? Is a famous actress who has two husbands.
That does happen.
Also, I would like to say that it's not necessary for a bisexual person to be satisfied sexually by both sexes. Once you have found the love that you want to be with, it's not necessary to be with both. Bisexual does not mean I will be with anything. Bisexual means I will love the one that loves me. And so I really don't like the fact that all bisexuals think that they have to have everything. And I do say that if you're in love with a woman, be with a woman. If you're in love with a man, be with a man. If you really have to have both of those, I just don't think that you're actually satisfied by either person. So I don't feel that polygamy is a means to an end of your life. I feel like polygamy is a just for now. I feel like it's one of those things that you're just trying to be happy as you possibly can, but it doesn't mean that you're going to actually be following the plan for your life or what you really should be living, the fulfillment of your life, because there's so much involvement in such an emotional things with so many people. How are you going to figure out your own self?
True.
So life is not just defined by
I
sexual
appreciate
gratification, right?
that's true. But I appreciate the clarification that Tammy put up there. It says it. Well, I'll put it back up there. It says it can polygamy doesn't have to be one man and two women. It can be three men, three women, two men, one woman, two women, one man. It just means 3-person relationship.
More than one. Right. Mix.
Right.
Inter. And, but can I
to different models.
Different models. May I address Mark at some time? Okay.
Yeah. Before you say anything, I wanted to point out something that you guys have mentioned, and that is the fact that emotionally, an open relationship is not always ideal. It could sound good because you're like, okay, well, this person can address these needs and this person can address these needs. As long as we have an understanding and we don't go outside these rules, we're cool. But I can say for myself, one thing that I know for sure is I am very territorial. Some people don't recognize for themselves how territorial they are until they're placed in that position. And not to go real dark with it, but I'm one of those people that likes to watch Investigation Discovery. I do. I like to see the crime shows and those things like that. And so many of those situations happen with a 3-person relationship. It might be a man and a woman, or 2 women and a man, whatever. And they made the decision. They're like, we're going to have this person move in with us, and here's our rules, here's our boundaries. And the dude feels like he's, getting closer to the other female. Now, the other one that started off with the relationship with him was like, what are you doing? What's going on? This is my man. I was here first. And then some ugliness comes up. So I feel like that's a big thing to consider when you consider bringing other people in your relationship. It's like, how do you know what you could really handle until you're in that situation? And then you end up losing both people or all people. How many relationships are in it? I don't know. But what do you guys have to say to that aspect?
Well, may I come back to that though? I just want to piggyback off of something that Mark said. In the church, we do tend to establish what the norms are, and the thing about it is that we've seen the church go from one. It's like at first everybody was about this. Now, maybe not so much. And then when people pose the question about what they see in the Bible, where are the answers? So I'm saying that to say this, just like what Mark was saying. There, people had a certain position about marriage. At some point, in Utah, polygamy is still illegal too, by the way. And many church people have many, different spouses. And one of the most prominent people in the Bible, Jacob, had 2 wives. They had Leah and Rachel. And out of those 2 wives that Jacob had, he wasn't condemned. You see nothing in the scriptures that condemned Jacob for having 2 wives. And out of that come the 12 tribes of Israel, which are the most prominent tribes that are mentioned and carried out into the book of Revelation. So how do we answer that and tell people that they can't have but one spouse when you see examples of it in Jacob, David, and even in the book of Isaiah that we point out? I think it's Isaiah 41:1, where they said that in the end times that many women will lay hold of one husband or one man and say, we want to have your name, we're going to marry you. That this was going to be a trend in the end times. So is it something that we want to establish and say that we've established this morality, does it make it right because this is popular opinion? And our opinions keep changing. So putting that out there with what you're saying as well.
Okay.
So you might have an attitude, but how did the church people answer those examples in the Bible and still say that it's wrong? Who says that it's wrong if we see examples of it being right?
Can I speak to that?
Sure.
Okay. So not dealing with whether or not the Bible says it is right or wrong. Everything that is permissible is not necessarily profitable. There were a whole lot of drama scenarios that played out with Jacob's situation there. Yes, he had 2 wives, but there was that area of jealousy did pop up big time, actually between the siblings, to the point that they actually wanted to kill one of their brothers because of the fact that they were so jealous of the way it is that the father favored him. Because there was only one father, 2 mothers. And then that father seemed to have more of an affection toward the wife. And so the rest of the other sons were challenged because their father seemed to have this thing for a woman who was now gone past, and now seemed to be embracing the sons of that woman more so than them. So again, this whole thing about what was permissible in the Bible isn't the only thing that we need to look at. We need to look at, well, what were the problems that came out of that? And are those problems better to deal with than if you have a monogamous situation where it's hard enough just with one father, one mother, one husband, one wife, and children, trying to figure out how you can make that work? That's difficult in itself. When you begin to add to that picture, there are going to be more things that are going to pop up, period. The more complex the relationships become, it's not easier. It's going to bring trouble along with it.
Okay. Do you guys have
That's true, and when you say that, I could answer you with yes, one word, murder. That is a big argument against polygamy, because if one becomes too much in love with another and it is not equal, I could see it totally being one of those shows on a bad TV show. So just say that.
Investigation discovery.
Are you saying that you don't think that it's possible that 2 people can live together and share and not be jealous?
I don't know.
That's not, I mean, it is. I agree.
I don't. Well, go ahead. The slums are trying to talk. Go ahead.
I just feel like that you can agree. You can agree. I mean, I don't know nobody personally that is, in that relationship, except for she does a radio show. Unique.
Yeah, Monique.
I mean, I don't know how her husband's relationship is now, but it is possible if you agree.
Again, everything that's permissible is not necessarily profitable. Do you know enough about that to say it is a profitable relationship where they're doing well, they're prospering, they are growing even closer to one another? Or are there things that you just don't know about?
But that could be a relationship.
That's why I said you have to agree with each other, because you 2 live together. Like, me and Sheldon, we are here, even though we're on, the live with you guys, we still have to agree with everything that we do as a couple to make things happen, to make stuff happen. And I feel like that, if it's agreeable and you guys are you understand, and you are that type of couple that can do it, you can do it.
Okay. Well, again,
I don't know. I feel like although there are situations where there's open relationships and you can have agreements, you can have boundaries, you can have rules, I feel like we are all human beings. Mm-hmm. And with that being said,
are you sure about that?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that we're human beings. So, with that being said, um, I think that it's kind of naive to say that there won't be a point where somebody is experiencing some jealousy, because how can you evenly distribute yourself amongst more people in your relationship,
Exactly.
especially when you got different people, you got different types of people. And I told you what kind of person I am, right? So I can make this agreement. I'm married. Okay. I'm Asia Jamal Rogers, uh, as opposed to just Asia Jamal, because I made that distinction because those are my parents right there, Dr. Zimmerman, Margaret Jamal, um, and Elisha Jamal, whose song we were playing earlier. Our family is awesome, aren't we? But anyway,
Quick plug, real quick.
what I'm saying is, so we're married, and we could decide one day, okay, let's try this open relationship thing, right? And he may say, no, this might be a burden off of my shoulders. When you're wanting this, and maybe this person can help with you on this, and when I need this person can help with this. And I'm making a distinction. I'm talking about open relationship versus polygamy. Remember, those are two different things. You know, if we go with that, I am not going to change my character. I am still very territorial. So if it feels to me like you are spending too much time with this thing over there, I was here first. What is going on? You like her first? Is that what's going on? Am I not good enough for you? What is the problem? Let's have a discussion. And then that discussion might not really be a discussion. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just, I feel
so that's when you decide
sure.
to let it go.
That you said that you decide what now?
To let it go.
So if you are in a relationship and you agree with the open relationship and you start to disagree with the opposite person, say you're married, so we're disagreeing with that person, we're going to let him go or she go, and it shouldn't be a thing. It's we're together. It's not, we're not worrying about their feelings.
Exactly.
How do you put that back in the bottle, though? I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But like any relationship, what I'm saying is, I think no matter what we're talking about, not projecting, because just because you feel that way doesn't mean that everybody feels that way. Everyone is not necessarily that demanding. There are some people that just need a little bit. And so in that situation, it could possibly work. The other thing that is very big in a lot of marriages, and have any of you felt that way at some point where you were just lonely, even being married, that you still had a sense of loneliness? And then if you had another spouse, then you could not necessarily feel so lonely when that person can't give you attention. Then you go ahead, and I feel him looking at me.
He's like, oh,
I'm doing the other side now. That's all. I'm not trying to put feelers out. All I'm saying is that the other aspect of it is to, if you have that arrangement, you don't feel guilty about it because you've already established that you have a monogamous relationship, and then it will reduce your likelihood of feeling lonely even in the midst of your relationship.
Being polygamous relationship.
Yes.
Can I add one thing?
Can I please say something real quick? I mean, coming as a man, just being a man, period. Any man in the room, I don't care which one of y'all speak up. If another man comes around and your woman, who is your woman, is showing another man more attention than she is giving to you, are you not going to be upset? I mean, that's just territorial. I mean, all men are territorial. I don't care what all men are territorial. Women can be territorial too, but every man is territorial when it comes down to his woman.
Is it okay with me to? Can I share now?
Please.
Okay, because I wouldn't be sharing my wife. Period. End of story. But the besides, I think unfortunately we've gotten this thing mixed up, and we're talking about something that is very temporary, and that is the way we feel. Emotions change; they're not fixed. You don't feel the same way all the time. And you know what? The same thing that felt good today doesn't necessarily feel as good next week. Things change. It's not the same all the time. When it is that you're talking about a relationship, and I'm talking about a relationship, not a situationship. When you're talking about a relationship, it has the enduring dynamics of actually being able to sustain through what is going to change. Our emotions do change, male or female. Our emotions change. They're not the same. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Sheldon, absolutely, I would not be okay. You can't open that door and say, "Oh, brother, it's okay. You can be a part of this. Yeah, you can carry some of the load." Ain't
Carry
nobody
some of the
carrying none
load.
of this load.
I
Okay,
got too
I
much
got this
pride for
load.
that, man.
I
I
got
got
this
too
load.
much pride for that. I can't say another
I mean,
man
but
can just
sometimes
handle
we have
things.
groceries on both sides of the car, and if I have two guys, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get close to the end of the show, but there's this question by Elijah. It says, "Is it fair to say that the assumption for an open relationship is that the individual is not enough for the other person?" So my question back to you would be, what's the purpose then of having an open relationship? If you're fully fulfilled with one individual, help. I mean, this is, I'm not
Does
saying
not
I know the answer. This is a legitimate question. What is the purpose of having an open relationship if you're fulfilled with that one individual?
Jeff
Very,
had
very,
raised
very
his
true.
hand.
You
Yeah.
want to say something, Jeff?
I just had a question. So, with all of this going on, where is the love? So, are you? I'm trying to think as this was going on, and I love my wife dearly. I don't think I could have enough courage because I know it would break her heart to invite somebody else in. Now, like I said, when I wasn't in a relationship, in a marriage, when I was younger, you know, I didn't care what the other person thinking. So it would have been easier at that point to have an open relationship. But now being in a marriage, you get to know somebody, you know their faults, they know your faults. I can't, I don't know. I was trying to find the courage to even think how I would even propose that to my wife. I just can't do it because I know it would hurt her and it would kill her, and I wouldn't do it because she'll probably kill me, and that'd be another story for another day. But I just can't see if you really love somebody, if you really love them, even if you're not being fully satisfied, are you going to risk breaking that other person's heart just to include somebody else? And that would be my question.
Mm.
Like to comment this
Well,
up on the
but
screen
I
right
feel
now.
but I feel like if you have an open relationship, it's not, you wouldn't be breaking someone's heart and adding somebody in because it's an agreement. That's what makes it an open relationship. You're breaking somebody's heart if you're just stepping out, you're cheating. But if it's an
So who would bring?
agreement,
I think
So he's saying
Asia, I disagree that because it's permissible that everything's going to work out just fine. You agree to something, but you don't know the dynamics. Even when you're saying "I do" in a marriage, you don't know where that road's taking you. And so, even though it is that you got rules set up, the idea that somebody's heart's not going to be broken, that's not realistic. I think it is probable. I think it's even more probable when you have more complexity in a relationship that there is going to be a broken heart, that there is going to be someone who is devastated by some of the dynamics of this open relationship.
And even with, there are examples of people who I think it was Michael Douglas, that was, he had to have different relationships. And he said that what happened is he was diagnosed as a sex addict. And it was something that his wife was willing to help him work through. And in certain situations, if you're going to be understanding because someone is dealing with a sickness, so to speak, that it would, and you know that this is what they're going to do, and you still want to keep that relationship with them, you may be open to an open relationship rather than them sneaking around. That's what I'm saying. My point is, we can't assume that everyone is going to be that jealous person. We can't assume that every situation is going to be like this is just this normal couple. There are extremes. There are mitigating circumstances where someone says, I love you, I care about you, but you have issues, but I still would rather be with you than without you. I don't want to be with anybody else.
Yeah.
And so in those situations, I don't think that it's for any of us to judge those people. That might just be what's best for them.
You just said I don't want to be with anyone else.
In other words, they don't want. In other words, his wife doesn't want to be with another man. She wants to work it out with him, even though she knows that he has this issue.
Meaning she doesn't want another husband per se, but she has needs that need to be met. And so maybe they have an agreement that says, okay, you can do XYZ because I know I can't provide this for you, but we're still going to be married.
Correct. Or exactly. So, and just like Elijah had posed the question, that person is not enough. And it's not personal. It's not that person is not enough. Is that the drive of that individual is one that's not controlled, that they can't control. And while they're working through that, it's better for them to at least be honest about it and see what their options are.
I'm gonna throw a wrench into this thing, if you don't mind. I know we're running out of time, Asia. One of the reasons why marriage, and I'm talking about on the traditional side, is so prominent, it really has to do with family wealth. And I want you to go with me here for a minute. Family wealth more than not has to do how it is that you're actually able to pass on things to your children. If it is that you're able to acquire more wealth as an equity in your home, equity in your assets, and then you're actually able to leave that for others, then you have family wealth. If you have open relationships and you have no quote unquote marriage, those assets become split up and they actually go to a probate court to figure out who's going to get what, because it's not clear who inherits whatever. The inheritance aspect and family wealth aspect is something that African American families have struggled with because we haven't had the opportunity to hand that down as much. But still, it is a very important dynamic. Coming together in a relationship isn't just about sex and gratification. That is part of the relationship. It is not the only valuable thing in the relationship. And I believe that our children, if it is that, let's just say they knew of the legacy that we were going to leave behind, they would be more concerned about what's going to happen with that legacy than what's going to happen with our relationship if we decided to have an open relationship.
You have to be rich.
I think those are some good points and maybe some things that would be worked into that possible relationship. But like you said, we are, you said running out of time. We are out of time.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you guys for joining this conversation. This was very, very interesting. I feel like we might need a part 2 because we didn't get as deep into the conversation as I would have liked to. So maybe we can discuss maybe doing a part 2 if you guys are open.
And we have listeners who voted. Next time we should get our vote and have them put it down and see which side.
Yeah, we definitely. Well, okay. So before I close out, Tammy has another question. Maybe Tammy should join the conversation next time. She has a lot to say. And so the only reason for marriage is to have kids and pass on wealth. So if you don't plan to have kids or have anything to inherit,
I thought the same thing, Tammy.
They say they shouldn't be allowed be married?
Can I answer
And
that?
then Shy-Town part two.
That's for part two.
Hold on.
She asked a question now.
I'm just
She asked
kidding.
a question.
We answer these questions, we're gonna be off for another half hour. Okay.
I can answer pretty quickly though.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna let you do your quick answer, and then I'm gonna close this out. Go, Dr. Aaron Jamal.
Okay. So first of all, you don't know whether or not you're going to be wealthy or not. You don't know whether or not you're going to be poor or not. The point is to have a structure that is sound enough to be able to leave a legacy. It's not whether or not you're going to do it, because you don't know. If by chance you end up losing your inheritance or not able to pass it on, at least you have the structure in place. You can't wait until you get. I mean, most folks that get wealthy or become wealthy and they're single are very leery of whoever it is they're going to get in a relationship with, because they think the only reason why they're happening is because they want the money, not the relationship.
Prenup.
But look at the question. The question is not about wealth. It's about whether or not you have kids. If you don't have kids to pass it down to, that's what she says. So should that then say they shouldn't be allowed to be married if they don't plan to have kids, if that's not the structure that they want? That's why I said maybe we should pass this question on to part two, because I think there's more to it than we have time for. And Shy says she will join in on the conversation. I got you, Shy-Town. Tammy, you're more than welcome to join in too. Reach out to me. So you can see how to reach out to me. You can go to my website, and that is asiajamal.com. And if you are watching me from YouTube, which I saw Tammy was, please subscribe. Follow me and subscribe, asiajamal.com. You will see all of my episodes on there. You'll be able to reach out to me from there as well. Also, you can just send me an email at asia@asiajamal.com. And I promise you I will get back to you as soon as possible. So remember to embrace God's perfect design, which is you. I look forward to speaking to all of you guys next week. We'll plan when this part two is going to happen. I thank you all for your participation. Have a good evening. And
thank you for having us.
Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time next week.
You got it. That's right. Friends of your marriage.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Have a good night.